we get all this sort of interaction online, but nobody's ever seen like someone have to deal with that.
Yeah,
in
yeah,
person,
I got
know?
you. I got you. Let me
You
put
know
my
what I
phone
mean?
on silent.
What?
Yeah.
I'll tell you. I'll tell
All
you.
right.
Yeah.
More to this.
I put my phone on silent for.
That's a steel case chair.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Fancy.
Yes, I bought it, and that's a steel case desk as well.
Oh my.
I bought that from Total before Robert left.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So, leap chair, height adjustable desk.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny? We don't ever use the
The adjusted,
adjustable
yeah,
desk.
Yeah, yeah.
Vicky, are both rolling? Yeah. Yeah, we don't ever use the desk, and it's a shame because I have a bad neck.
We brought in the furniture we brought in. It was 170 chairs that we did for Modec. Oh, am I rolling?
You're rolling, yeah.
Yeah, we did 170 chairs for Modec.
Oh, sorry, hold on. Give me a test there.
Testicles.
Richard, just give me a test. Let me just make
Test.
Oh, please for the
Check,
headphones.
check.
Use the headphones, Richard.
No, you don't have to. You don't have to.
You don't have to, but I mean...
Whatever you're comfortable
Yeah.
with. Jared, maybe give him. Oh, one of them. No, you keep that one. I think that one is like one of them is kind of peeled up.
Hello. Yeah. All right. I'll
You don't have to.
Yeah,
You don't have to.
to.
Yeah. Rather you be comfortable than not.
I like the headphones to be able to modulate my voice better when I'm speaking into the microphone because I'm not. You know,
Yeah.
you guys are fixed. I'm not. So
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. You're not fixed.
I'm not fixed. All over the place.
Um,
So what's the story? What happened?
No, first of all, before we start, Richard, thank you so much for coming. Round of applause.
Yay.
First,
Yeah.
you know,
Pop your cherry on the
first
on the glass.
artist we've kind of had like a brief discussion about. Did you see our clip?
A few people sent it to me.
Okay.
I
hope you didn't take any offense.
I did not.
Or
I
anything
did
to
not.
what we said.
I did not.
And it was certainly not meant to be that way.
For if anything, I thought it was fun. I looked at it. I thought it was fun. You guys had opposing opinions, and I thought it was good. It was good conversation. But yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, I just thought like it was so because, and I'll just quickly recap. Like when I saw, by the way, and I've been going through all your music. I'm a fan, and I just think it's so cool how creative you are. You know, talking about different relatable Guyanese situations. I saw the one with I think her name is Mola.
Oh yeah.
And I saw a few of them. The one with Officer Bling, and that was Carlvin Burnett in as well, right?
Oh yeah.
That was hilarious. So good.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Oh,
Yeah.
I gotta send you that one. It's so
Please.
funny. And it's the creativity is off the charts, and and I think like good creativity in general. You have to be bold and brave. I mean, you could tell me, but it's like sometimes you get some ones, and especially like people who don't know you or your work will see that one
Yeah.
and have a lot to say, and which is normal. I think that's like the part of being an artist.
It is, and to be honest, and I would imagine you guys might agree, is music in general, entertainment in general, you can't please everybody. You can never please everybody, and somebody somewhere along the line will have something to say about what you're doing. That's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, if you allow people's opinion to stifle your creativity, then you're allowing them to chart your own territory, your own sailing. So that was never my intention when I started, and I'll go even deeper to say, I have lost so many opportunities, right? So many opportunities to be on big stages with big companies, part of inner circles, so to speak, in Guyana because of the type of person that I am. Very outspoken, very candid, no filter. What you see is what you get kind of person. And a lot of times, artists, big names in the country come and say like, yo, we wish we could do what you're doing, but at the end of the day, we gotta pay bills, and this is what feeds us. But we wish we could say the things that you say, or be the way that you are. It's full creative freedom. You don't. It's not, and I'm not speaking in the sense of blasting people down and cussing people out and stuff like that. I've actually eased up on though, but for the last year and a half, maybe 2 years. But I'm talking about just being bold and just doing whatever you feel like doing, and just doing it for you, just for the passion of the music and for your own purpose and own fulfillment. At the end of the day, a lot of people are like, yo, we wish we could do this, but unfortunately we can't. And it's kind of iffy at the top, where people they want to kind of rule in which direction you go, and they kind of want to lead you. And if you do something and say something that's not what they want to hear, then it's kind of, you could lose a lot.
Richie, is this like corporate sponsors, or is this like event organizers that?
Well,
I mean, you can.
okay,
you don't have to name anybody,
so,
but I'm just trying to get an idea as to.
Yeah, I was actually gonna. It's funny you said that, because I was actually gonna ask, who are you referring? Not, I'm not telling you to point out, oh, this person told me not to say this. I just mean, like, I'm trying to understand where the market is.
So corporate, of course, is one aspect. Obviously, corporate is one aspect. Understandably so too.
Yeah.
But I mean, who throws the most? Who has the most control in the music industry as an organization?
HJ or the government?
Not okay.
But sorry, and I offer that. I said the government because I figured that's what most people think. I don't think so, and I actually thought you wouldn't have thought so. So I'm glad we already have a differing opinions. Why do you think so?
Why do you think not?
Because I think that the government isn't responsible for every single opportunity an artist gets. I think the private sector is heavily, in my opinion, right? And we could discuss it. I'm not saying it's gospel. I think the private sector is highly underutilized. I feel like creatives, not just musical artists, have to figure out, okay, I have a product. How can I make this product work for you? The government has no say in that. If we're talking about national events, then fine, okay.
I think that's maybe what he's saying in terms of
which is
getting
fine, but
exposure on the big stage, which for the last 4 years have been state-sponsored events.
But you do know that all the biggest artists out of Guyana have not been successful in Guyana. You like, could we agree on that, or is that wrong?
I don't know.
Could you say who?
Eddie Grant. You could.
Absolutely.
Dave Martins.
I agree. Yeah.
I'm just Lisa Punch. I'm not. She's not maybe current right now. I don't think. I haven't heard anything from her in a while. But I'm just talking about like these big names. I mean, even Tamika Marshall, who's like really well known. She's not spent her whole career in Guyana. So my point is that, like, of course, like if it's the 60th anniversary, or if it's like the big whatever super concert, maybe you get looked over because of certain things, and I'm not disputing that exists. But is that going to feed you for the whole year?
Well, it seems you're not really in touch with how many of these shows happen on a yearly basis. It's a lot.
How many? Roughly.
There's always something there. So since 2020, after COVID, I mean, there's been a lot of events. I mean, there's the Independence, there's all the religious seasons, there's Christmas time, there's Mashumani and cricket, and almost every month or every other month you find a lot of these things happening. But coming back to what you said earlier in terms of you don't what was it you said in terms of you don't feel the government has.
I don't feel the government has the monumental say over your career.
I agree with that. I 100% agree with that. But what I'm saying is I guess what I was trying to say is that the pie is not really shared equally among the talent pool, because if you look at flyers for the last 3 years, you will see 15 repetitive faces on it. And it's not to say, and I know you don't think Guyana has 15 singers, all right? Or 15 deserving singers. It's just the way it is. But at the same time, I absolutely agree with you in terms of they don't dictate where your career trajectory goes. You can chart your own water. You can chart your own territory. And that's something that I honestly, I feel as though I have been a bit successful in doing. because this is one thing that one of my producer, big up DP, one of my producer told me.
Is Darryl Pugsley?
Yeah, Darryl Pugsley. For one thing he told me, and it stuck with me, and he said, you know, don't listen to anything that anybody has to say. There's always going to be haters. They're going to shun you out from the inner circle, and you're going to be overlooked like a lot of times, 9 times out of 10, maybe 10 times out of 10 sometimes. But keep doing music, be consistent, make good music that people is going to feel as though, hey, I kind of like this vibe, I want to press play again, right? Give them that kind of feel. And the people are the ones who are going to build you up. The people are the ones who are going to demand you. They're going to keep requesting. They're going to keep screaming in private promoters' ears and their uncle and their grandmother when they got the events and stuff like that. And eventually they're going to say, yo, hey, this is somebody we should consider.
I have a question. How would you define your style? Like, if there was an artist you would say you would like to emulate, who would that person be? In terms of your style, I'm not saying, oh, you want to be Bob Marley. You know what I'm saying?
So, just kidding.
Yeah. Like, I mean, who is an
What is
artist?
your genre? What is your genre?
There's none specific. So there's.
I feel like you're in kind of Chutney and dancehall, in some calypso-esque
I
kind
do.
of thing.
I so it depends on. So when I'm writing, it depends where I feel. When I'm writing in my head, it depends how I feel. What genre I feel if I put this music on. It don't be, okay, I can't got 100 songs in my head and feel as though they're all going to be for a Chutney beat.
Mm-hmm. Chutney's got to be where the market is at for you.
No,
though.
but it is. It
Yeah,
is. But
that's what
it
I'm
is.
saying.
But that's not, when I'm writing, I don't want to do a disservice to some of the lyrics and some of the songs that I have by trying to fit it on a Chutney track, right?
Yeah.
That's why I've been around the place to see what works and what doesn't work. To be honest with you, nothing else pays me. Absolutely nothing else pays me except Chutney music. I don't get anything except from Chutney fans. There is dancehall, I've done reggae, I've done some soca, I've done rap, but that's just the market. And nobody, I mean, this is something I didn't even want to talk about, but I know you guys are probably going to bring it up. But look at the Chinese song, for example, right? I'm so removed from the situation. Not forget too emotional talking about it and stuff like that. Like, yeah, upset and pissed. But
No, this is a good place to get
Right.
emotional.
no, but I don't want to because it's in the past, right? But just
Yeah.
using it as a reference, that was one of the biggest songs. Granted, it was controversial, but that was one of the biggest songs in the last 2 months in this whole country. One page had 1 million views in like 24 hours. It was absolutely insane. Not one, and I'm not even talking about me. I'm talking about the main singer. The youth that's called, his name is Vision, right?
Yeah.
I'm talking about Vision. Vision has not gotten one or maybe one, not even more than 2 calls to say, hey, yo, we got something going on. Summer coming up, yo, you got a hot track, blah, 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 whatever. You know, let me kind of bring you on board. Nothing. Crickets. And these guys are so talented. I don't know what's the process in selecting when it comes to like shows and events and stuff and so, but I promise you, the thing that pays me is Chutney music.
Can we circle back just a second? We can circle back on
Yeah.
the Chinese song.
I don't want to. Yeah, go ahead.
Are you more?
I'm sorry. I'm supposed to answer your question.
No, I mean, well, this kind of might lead into it. My question to you is: would you consider yourself more as a lyricist, or are you more musically inclined? Now, the background to this is, both of my sisters, my older sisters, are classically trained. They play piano, classical piano. You know, my mom plays guitar. I taught myself how to play guitar. I play the drums. My roommate in university is a brilliant musician. When I tell you this kid can play anything, he's the type of guy, you're playing guitar next to him and you see him start playing and you just put your guitar down and
Right.
slowly back away, you know, just because of the amount of musical skill this guy has. And I think some people are predisposed, they have that artistic brain where they're, you know, they can hear the melody in their head and then, you know, put it out onto sheet music.
Yeah.
And then there's the lyricists on the other side of it, you know, that are just absolutely brilliant. They're poets in their own you know, in their own line of work, and they're able to get the words out there. You know, that Junior Gong, Eminem, these guys are Lil Wayne, Lil Jon, All these guys are amazing. Jay-Z, amazing. You know, the way they can.
They tell
the
you
way
how
they-
to feel in words that you'd
and-
never.
But it's not just that, Alex. These guys can break it up into percussion. You know, they can break up a sentence into percussion where it's 16 beats in the measure. And so my question to you is, where do you think your brain is? Are you more the musical guy, or are you more the lyrical genius behind everything, coming up with the cool hook or the cool lyric that's going to catch people? Which do you think? Or are you both?
Absolutely, 110% not the music guy.
No. Yeah.
So I own about 2 guitars, and I can't play a proper riff. Like, I tried maybe playing System of a Down, Chop Suey a couple of times.
It's not an easy song. Yeah.
Maybe try to play Last Resort. Just the riff. Like, this about it. And
Bro, learn 4 chords, play Wonderwall, and you know, you're good to go from. That was my college. You know, I learned just enough to get myself laid. You know, it was A, E, G, and
All that
B.
for like one time, 2
And,
minutes.
no, bro. It was worth it. You know? But yeah, I mean, like, I have a lot of admiration. My saying is I have a lot of admiration for both. So you're saying you're more the lyric guy. You're sitting down and coming up with catchy, interesting.
I mean, but in all fairness, like, and again, obviously, music is a phenomenal skill to be able to play. Like, to be able to play music of any instrument, and they are savants and gifted people in that, you know. But I think, like, and I'm happy you asked that question, because we'll come back to the Chinese thing, though. We ain't done with that.
Eventually, yeah.
But what I was gonna ask you is, when you produce music, you know, I could have told that you're a lyricist because of what you say and the ideas you come with. It's all about these cool ideas that you put on the song, right? Do you just get the track and then produce your vocals on that? You do all your you know, special sauce and your mastering and mixing, and is there any like tinkering with the instrumental? Is there any collaboration outside of other lyricists where you have maybe musicians come in and add anything into the mix? Or like, what is your experience with that, and does that even exist here?
So this is how I started. When I started, it was just to give you guys a little backstory. It's been 3 years now since I've been doing this, and COVID was the reason behind it. I'm super social. Jared would probably know. Everybody, Ans McCall, very social.
Stood out from the group. He was working there when I was working there, and the kid had something about him. He was just very, you know. And then when the song came out 3 years ago, Robert Hiscock sent it to me, and he's like, "Look, it's Richie." I was like, "That's awesome." Yeah.
Yeah. So what ended up happening is I used to write music like way back in the day. It was just kicks off music, you know, just like we used to do a lot of karaoke. Like every, you know, Friday, Saturday, Wednesday, get drunk, end up in some karaoke bar, Brickdam or wherever had Hatfield Street, wherever it was, end up in the karaoke bar and just sing till your vocals give out, right? Which don't take long because you're done drunk already.
Yeah.
But by the time I sing Lose Yourself and the real Slim Shady vocal, like, cut out.
You can sing Lose Yourself?
Absolutely.
Nice.
Absolutely. But what I used to do was I would take my hand and just kind of find like a little slow tempo and then kind of like write music to it. So say she want me cause I's a Guyanese, let we drink some rum way down in Boris. Link up as our mystic Pompey, after she bring some friends enough for Alabi. You understand? Just like kicks out,
Nice.
but
Yeah.
I would just find like a tempo and try to like go to it. I didn't know what a melody was. I was like, I'll figure it out. Let me just use this one to and whatever
Nice.
it was, right? Or I would listen to one to like rock beat and hear how the riff's going quick and be like, okay, this is what I want. Sing it, something like how this is going. And we started, I linked with Darrell. We started doing it. By the way, he never done Chutney music before me, and we took 11 months to produce the first song. Because I was learning, he was learning. It was crazy.
Why'd you enter with Chutney?
It was the easiest thing to do.
Okay.
I just felt as though it was the simplest thing
You
to
listen
do.
to a lot of Chutney?
No, I before then, like barely,
Okay.
barely.
That's so
Like I would probably listen to like rum shop tune, like maybe like Rajin Daraji Maji and like these things, and so like one, two.
Jared, you know those songs, right?
That's the only time I'm gonna get stoned for saying this, but I actually don't like chutney music. But if you're sitting in a shop and it starts playing, you start shaking your foot and you snap your hand.
Right.
It's, you
That's a
know.
big tune, right?
But I'm not gonna be sitting in the car in traffic and listening to chutney music.
Right.
You know?
But like innately, I am rap, I am rock. Like that is
Okay.
me.
Okay.
Right. Like heavily.
Yeah.
And chutney music was just the easiest. It was I thought it was the quickest path to success, and because that's where the market. There's where half of the market is probably that, and the other half is maybe soca, or they split 1/3 each with
Yeah.
reggae, soca, chutney, right? So I was like, okay, this is my quickest path to success, and just do a couple of this, see what happens, and if you boom, then we can figure it out after. Then I could maybe do some music that I like. Case in point, like one or two of the rap that you might come across on my YouTube and what's not, right? So that's what I did, but eventually it reached a stage where I got a little bit better, where when I hear the beat, I could kind of like freestyle on it, and so like that developed after a while, after being in the studio like more and more, and just kind of listening to people like Man or Mystic and these type of like these guys who are super talented, and I'm around them and they kind of teach me like the tips and tricks of the business, breathing, like how to breathe every time you say a line, just kind of pull up breath and like don't try to run out the air when you're on the stage, don't stand at one place, kind of like bounce a little bit, like. These guys taught me a lot. It was small things, but it really, really helped me. As long as you're listening and you can absorb like a sponge, then it goes a long way. But eventually, it got easier to just kind of hear a beat and kind of freestyle. And at the same time too, whenever I'm a lot of my songs, people help me write them. Mystic helped me when I was doing Burby's Gal. I had the chorus. And we were in the studio, and it wasn't like I'm sitting and say, "Hey, come help me write this." It don't happen like that. Like we just taking a drink, we eating some fish, and something like that, and we just kicking off talking about two skin teeth joke, and the beat playing, and there's a chorus, and I had a whole different set of verse, a bunch of other stuff, and then Mystic was by the door, and he just listened to the beat, and he go like, "How she could wait." And I was like, what? I was like, good, this got delete. I go home, I was like, okay, I recorded to my phone, I was like, good, I gotta go home. So them guys got thinking, there's an inside joke where, well, it's not inside anymore, but there was an inside joke where they were like, I just will sit down and just observe everybody, hear what they said, then I was going to use.
Nice.
Then I was going to use it. So Mystic had a thing, Mystic had a thing where he was like, something he said, he was like, something, how you feeling? And then I was like, what? I was like, all right, good. So he got a showing in Borby's or something. So they're introduced like, everybody make some nice Richard. And I come and hear me, Borby's, how you feeling? And I'm here, so the EP Mystic, this fucking man, this man, teeth in man.
Yeah.
But
Richie, that in itself, I mean, you laugh about it, but that in itself is a skill that not a lot of people have, just that ability to think off the cuff and to come up with a melody line off the cuff like that. That's the creative side of your brain working, and that's something, not a lot of people have,
But
people-
also to his point, like I feel like it would be like impossible to write music on your own too. I feel like there's no one artist that writes every single thing, Like there has to be collaboration in some form or fashion.
Yeah, I think it works better that way. A lot of people have helped me with a lot of lines for big songs, right? Very notable songs. There's a song that I did called Mother-in-Law. Like, in Guyana, we don't say mother-in-law, like hardly. Like, the kind of Guyanese song is mother-in-law. We're mother-in-law, my father-in-law, right? So the song is called Mother-in-law. And we were in the studio, and one of my real safe brethren to Rasta guy called Man. He was one of the big things back in the day when... Fojo, I know if you guys know these people like Fojo, and they're like, I know you probably know Natural Black. And so these guys were big. He was one of the man who used to be around with brutal tracks, going and singing and busting on the stage and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kind of ease off now, we're doing your own thing, but we're in the studio and them man just listen. Them man can't hear a beat without opening their mouth. That's how skillful they are. Like they just make you song, when you go with the intention, it is just gone in a whole different, it's just like up like 7. It's just gone. Right, and it's just like sit down, listening to it, and just vibing with it, and just having good, friendly conversation, and good things come out of it. Like I was doing listening to it, a whole entire verse went in a whole different direction. Rastaman was like, I catch you peeping the car, winding up the big bumper. You do last night, yeah, you're taking it too far. But I know just how far come she. She like brown rum and enough whiskey. So tell the barman, make sure he put a straw. Cause nobody better than me more than la. No, not a young gal, hey, can't make no side with she. Energy enough, yeah, bangs beer and pie worry. When she bend, she back and just whine. She lock it off full night. Yo,
That's badass.
yo, Rastaman was like, I was
Bruh.
like, what?
That's badass.
Yeah, like they're so
Yeah.
they've helped. They've really helped. Those
Yeah.
guys are big up my G, my lion. You don't know Rastaman, I love.
Richard, how much time do you spend in because you're a working guy, you're a professional.
Yeah.
You're on a 9 to 5. How you fit in studio time?
I do. I really.
And this is something. Sorry to cut you. This is something I'm very curious about because, and again, I'm gonna shit on our us as creatives here in Guyana for a little bit because I keep hearing these bad narratives about poor me and oh gosh, I ain't got time and opportunity and boo-hoo. And then I see somebody like you who's like has a great job, a job that needs you to be locked in, and you're doing all this stuff. Where are you finding the time? How are you managing that time? And then what percentage of that time you spend looking for those things do you actually get stuff in return,
So one thing about me, since a small, as you Guyanese slang goes, since a small, before I even knew what time management was, growing up, I've always been good at managing my own time. I've always really been good at managing time. When I was growing up, when I was growing up, I'm like 19, 20. This pretty long time ago. But I work in a dance McCall, so there was so much to do, and if you wasn't on the ball, I think that's one of the things that made me become as Jared would probably tell, became recognized in Anson McCall from the managing director, the marketing director, because I was always on the go, and I was very good at managing time. I probably was doing two persons job at the same time, just to get two people leave the role, I take it over and I still had extra time, right? I was always good at that. So to answer your question, it's not just music alone I fit into my job. There's also spending quality time with my daughter, which I absolutely do. I don't cheat on that at all. Spending time with my daughter, having fun and spending time with my siblings. We're very close. Mom, siblings, my wife. I still find time to do these things. I even find time to hang with my friends, my kicks off friends, just go to the car in the shop, drink 2 beer, play 2 pools, like these type of things. I still do.
Yeah.
In terms of the music, I think I write music mostly when I'm driving. So I don't look at that as a downtime, like getting from A to B. Sometimes I'm 2 hours in the traffic, right? I'm 2 hours, what am I doing for 2 hours inside the traffic? I make some work calls and what's not. Gyaff with 1 or 2 people, maybe my wife. Only my wife. But
Of course.
baby, I love you. But
I love it.
but I use that time to find lyrics. I use the time to come up with melodies. I kind of send voice note to myself over and over and be like, okay, idea 1, just kind of jot it down, and whenever I feel I can circle back to it, I do.
Yeah.
When I'm in the shower, when I'm actually doing things, I'm doing multiple things at the same time. Just kind of multitasking.
So you make time.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Sorry, the question I wanted to ask was, with regards to, you have a great job. It obviously pays the bills, and you're good at what you do. You were good at what you did at Anson McCall, but you want to make music the career. You want to make music. This is the end all here. We want to be multi-million-dollar record selling artist, Richie, or do we want to keep our job, pay the bills, and then just kicks off with the music? What's the direction?
Good question.
The question, the reason there's going to be a follow-up question,
Okay.
but yeah, go ahead.
So I honestly haven't figured that out as yet. I think I'm still, it's 3 years, but I think like for a musician, 3 years is still in a rudimentary phase of your career. And I haven't figured it out as yet, but I can tell you this. The income in music, it's there as long as you got a discography that people, enjoy. So I can get, I have turned down, I just turned down two shows, 3 shows a month. 2 or 3 bookings a month. And it's a decent amount of money.
Turned down
Turn
2 or 3
down, yeah,
bookings
yeah.
a month.
Turn
Okay,
down.
wow.
Sometimes I take bookings, let me say, okay, for example, like Canada or New York or
Oh, you do this? You get bookings overseas?
oh yeah.
No way.
And I think in March or February or April, I can't remember. I was in St. Kitts.
Why'd you turn it down?
No, I'm there. So, but I look at those things like, okay, yeah, there's a mini vacation. I can just kind of go and kind of blast it, drink a little rum, sing to tune, do what I like doing, get paid for it, and then just come back and head back to work on Monday. So I leave on the red eye flight on Friday, perform Saturday, come back Sunday. Monday I'm back to work. So there's no gap in between saying that it's gonna affect my day job.
Just a quick question on that. So you have somewhat of a fan base abroad then?
Oh, I do.
Wow.
I do.
Would you say the fan base abroad is bigger
It
than
is
local?
bigger. It is
no
bigger.
way.
Oh, it's bigger. So
I believe you.
So
by
my
the way. I'm just
distributor-
I believe you
disappointed
too.
to hear it.
So my distributor
Yeah.
that I do distribute my music through is TuneCore. A lot of people, I think a lot of locals probably use TuneCore or DistroKid. I use TuneCore. That was the first one I ever registered with, and it shows you analytics where your streams are coming from. So I have 17, 18 million streams in the last few years, and 70%, 60%, 65% is probably out of New York, America. 20% from Canada, and then like really close to Canada, there's maybe Guyana. Then there's like Trinidad, and then all these other countries, Suriname, and a little in Barbados, UK, yeah, different places. Some places I wouldn't even, Malaysia, some places just kind of like wild. Like, who is in Malaysia listening to me?
Yeah,
Like,
that's so
right?
cool.
Like, it's wild, but yes, the fan base is definitely bigger.
And this is
there.
recording the Spotify, Apple Music,
Streams all across socials.
YouTube as well.
Yeah,
Oh no way. Okay, wow.
yeah, all
That's so
across
cool.
socials.
I'm so like impressed that you're keeping track of the numbers. I
Oh,
mean,
absolutely.
That's like I've never heard a musician here talk about that stuff, and this is a good segue into the business as well. Like, I'm not gonna get too personal in your business, but it's just nice to know how this operates. Like, we obviously don't have strong copyright laws here, and therefore our market kind of suffers.
Yeah.
It and correct me if I'm wrong at any point. It feels like you're sort of reliant on whatever handout you can get because of zero market. So when the big boys, whoever that may be, you and I differ on who those are, but give you this opportunity, you got to take it because there's nothing else.
Yeah.
You can't sell your music because if you put out something, I could come and rip it off and use it to advertise my business, So, how do you approach the business of music? I mean, obviously you enjoy doing it, but you are obviously interested in the business side. What is your philosophy with selling and distributing your art?
So when it comes to TuneCore works again as the distributor, and that by itself gives you copyright, right? That by itself. So if you go on YouTube and you pull up most of my songs, whichever one is distributed through TuneCore, not all are, but whichever ones are, you're gonna see there's a little writing at the bottom mark copyright, right? Wherever it plays, as long as it's in the social world, it records, and I get a percentage of it. Okay. So I get a percentage of it. When it comes to like locals, kind of putting your stuff on their car ads and things and stuff like that. For me, at this stage, I kind of look at it like advertising for myself.
Yeah,
I
it's
just
not
kind
worth
of
running after.
I kind of just give it away and say, yeah, okay, cool, advertising. So I'll give you an example. So now that we're in the CPL season, and so I did a song 2 years ago, I think 2 years, Yeah. How long now Guyana hosting CPL?
Oh Lord,
This is the third year or fourth?
It's like the fourth.
fourth year.
Cool. So I did a song 3 years ago called "Welcome to Cricket Carnival." It's 3 years ago. It's a real bacchanal type of tune, as the with Trini boys then would say. It's a bacchanal type of tune. It got a little pump in it, right? And it was to enter a local competition where I think the Ministry of Culture, Youth and Sports had put up, and we had a bunch of entrants and what's not. And unfortunately, I had my first international show was 3 back to back in New York, and I had to leave the country. But from what people were saying and the feeling that I had a really good chance at maybe winning the competition. And it was, you would have win $1 million, and then you would have been, you would get a part to perform on all the other big shows, like for the next how much ever years and what's not. I wasn't able to come and do it because 1, I was over there. 2, I had COVID, which was really messed up. My wife was like, just jump on a plane, come back and just go and do it and then see what happens. Like the way I was feeling, I felt like the only little bit energy I had was for kind of like go to these shows and then come back home. Right? And there's another story. I want to tell you all about this. The first shows that I did. I've never really told this story, but I want to tell you all what happened. And the world.
Yeah.
But
The 10 people in the world that listen to this.
At least 11. At least 11 on this one. Yeah. We'll boost it.
Boost it.
but
You could put a part of your next gig check towards boosting
Yeah.
this.
Absolutely.
Sorry, go ahead.
but I didn't do it, and a lot of so like Visit Guyana and these other Digicel and these other pages, they use it when cricket time comes around because it's really vibesy and it's cricket related, and I don't make a big fuss out of it. I kind of look at it and I smile and kind of reshare it and be like, yeah, you don't know, big up the Cricket Carnival tune, whatever. But I don't run behind it. I don't think I'm at that stage right now where I couldn't be running after every little thing people
Yeah.
rip off of you, knowing that we live in a country called Guyana.
Even though you're right, it somehow makes you look bitter.
Yeah.
Even though you're right.
Yeah.
You know, like it's crazy. how
That's
that works.
interesting that they would do that, considering, I think there's some amounts of brouhaha about photography being used by the tourism, different tourism agencies and tourism businesses where they use other people's photographs.
Well, I think
you
the
know.
lines are very blurred. I'm not gonna get into
I don't know.
who did
I don't know
what.
enough about it.
Yeah.
I'm not calling names or pointing
Yeah.
fingers. I'm just saying, in terms of using other people's things, if you're gonna use it, at least ask. I mean,
Yeah.
say, hey man,
I think the philosophy here is if it's online, it's fair game.
it's free.
which is not right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Back to your story.
No, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. But let me just add to what you guys are saying. So Digicel, my videographer at the time, he had reached out before and be like, yo, I want to use this song, one of your song under this thing that we're doing. I mean, you didn't really get into details, but I kind of made like a little kicks off thing under the post. Like long after, I think a night I was kind of high, I saw it. Be like, what? And they're like, yo, I think there was an issue where one of the singers in Guyana kind of went for sue somebody, and I can't remember who, but went for sue somebody, and then I put the thing on. They were like, "Hey, I didn't get approval for that." I was just kicks it though. I was stone drunk, and then the next day, the people, my video colleague was like, "Richard, you can do that." The people gave him bad thing. I was like, "Oh my!" I said, "Bro, I'm just kidding." And they were like, "Yo, take it down." And I just thought of it as like last.
Did you write?
No, I mean I was right, but
What did you write?
Oh no, what did I write? I just wrote did I give approval for this or something like that?
Yeah,
He was being cheeky.
that's fair.
Yeah. No, yeah, of course. It's always fair, but that's what I'm saying. Like it's just you somehow look like the bad person for protecting the work you've put the time and resources in.
Yeah.
Like it's insane.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so let me circle back to the shows that I did in. Let me tell you how I know, right? Let me give you an idea how I developed such a good market in the US. And it stemmed off of something really bad. So my first 3 shows, I mean, and for anybody who feels as though you can just come off the road and be a singer, you can't. I promise you can't. I mean, you could be a singer, but you can't be an entertainer. I felt the blunt of that because me and being all cocky and some big fucking bad man walking through the door, like, yeah, I could do that, like, thing. I could public speak. Why I can't go and thing and talk on stage and entertain a crowd? Bro, I had a rude awakening.
You froze up?
Not froze up. Let me tell you what happened. So, first things first. If you want to be good at entertaining, it takes a lot of practice, obviously. But there's one thing that I learned from Mystic too is kind of know what your next song is when you're singing on stage. Like we say, you got 15 songs to perform. Kind of know where they are. Know what's coming after what. You got to kind of study that. If you don't know it, you'll be less entertaining than if you do. So you can talk like a little skit or a little joke, a little knob at it.
You gotta transition.
Yeah. So if you know that, it's you got the crowd in your palm of your hand. And there's something I didn't know off the bat. And it's like, yeah, I'll just do a medley. And I can just put all these songs together. And mind you, I only had like 2 songs. It was a song called Confessing and another one called Big Auntie, Last Night, whatever. And you buy Ghana, Schenectady. Oh my God. Schenectady, the place where they got the most coolie people, the most Barbicians. I love Barbicians, by the way. But I gone there like some big brother, walk up on stage, see me stupid medley. I got about half an hour medley. You know what's it for hear somebody just singing non-stop half an hour straight and they ain't taking no break into it and they ain't talking to you, they ain't saying nothing else. And they're just singing everybody else's music except their own. I only had 2 songs, right? So I singing away and this crowd stand up so, bro. This crowd stand up like this and I could hear these people whispering to one another.
Rough.
What the fuck this guy doing really? And I looking at them susu. I was like, oh God, Richard, you're dead. This is the longest half an hour of my life. Bro. And you buy, so one time, so when I reach like, I bust maybe a Prince JP song, and then I reach to like a little Kenneth Salick song where maybe I'll leave me for a man with a big one. So there's 1, 2 of them quarrel and things. So, and you buy, the time Licky Tiki just come out. You buy Guyana Licky Tiki in Schenectady. Bro, that is the what? I gone in a Chutney club for singing Licky Tiki. And you buy mixer.
For those viewers out there who don't know what Licky Tiki is.
Kes, bro,
Kes.
everybody know. My 11-year-old daughter, Kes is her favorite singer. She'd be like, when we there driving and I playing music, she's like, want to put on some Kes? And I'd be like, you can't be serious. You ask, why you want to ask me to put on my music? She's like, yeah, but let me listen to Kes. Anyways, so, and Licky Tiki hot, and you buy say, we get jam like Licky Tiki. Everybody stand up, nobody moving.
Really?
Bro, somebody in the back holler, come up, you Scott on the stage. I was like, oh,
Welcome to Guyana.
I wasn't Guyana.
Little Guyana.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, I did. Anyway, when I left there the night, so they say, if you don't learn from your mistakes, then something wrong, right? So I took the L and I went home and I was like, you know what? Okay, what you learn from this, Richard? One, after I came off stage, a bunch of people came and said, hey, how are you going? We from Barbies. Do you know Mystic? You know this person, the person? I was like, okay, cool. I met like, but 5, 10 people, like they're from Barbies, Curviton, Quarantine, this, whatever. Skeldon, Blackbush. Like, all right, cool. So I went back to the hotel. I was like, okay, cool. This place got enough Barbicians. And I'm thinking, if I got to come back here, let me sing one song that is going to pander to them. Let me come up with one song. And that's the birth of how I came up with Barbies Girl. It was initially just for sing in New York, just for sing in like Schenectady area, maybe 1 or 2 places around Richmond Hill whenever I do shows, right? That's how it birthed. And I didn't anticipate it would have been so big and people in all different places would have been singing it. But the intention behind it was just for sing because I got booed the ass off a stage because I was trying to sing soca song in a Chutney party. Right? So, and not even my song too, somebody else's music. I mean,
I love that. And I love that that story because I think that shows that there's so much more to creativity and doing this for real. Not just I'm a singer as a hobby. Like you have to find your market. Yeah. If nobody's listening to dancehall and does what you feeling the best, it doesn't really matter if you want to take it to a level.
Yeah.
And I think like that's a good thing for artists to learn too. Is like okay, if you're doing this one thing, let me go and perform for my market. Let me go and figure out where the money's at. And it doesn't have to be all about money. I'm not trying to make it sound too corporate and whatever. But I'm just saying you want to be in a position where people are enjoying what you have to offer, you know?
I agree.
Otherwise you're just performing for your mom and
Alex, here's my thing on this, and I think you guys would obviously have a different perspective on it, both of you being creatives. My thing on that is, yeah, you're pandering to the market, but are you doing what you love? Are you doing so Alex and I were talking today about you coming on the show, and one of the things I wanted to bring up was Guyana not having its own sound, Guyana not having its own original. What is Guyanese music? You know, I mean, the Jamaicans have their dancehall and reggae, and Trinidadians have their soca, and Bajans have their Bajan soca, which is, you know, very different to Trinidadian soca. But what is the Guyanese sound, or what defines us as being, you know, Guyanese music? Now, following on to that, there's always going to be starving artists in the world, you know, the guys that are trying to get themselves out there and trying to get themselves noticed and trying to make a buck off of it. But then there's the ones who just come up with the fresh new shit that no one's thought about, no one's done before, and, you know, maybe they might like it, maybe they might not like it. I'm not sure. You know, you like rock music, so I grew up. I absolutely love rock music, and I was blessed enough to have grown up hearing Korn when Korn came out. There was nothing like it. Rage Against the Machine, there was nothing like it. You know, even No Doubt when they came out, there was nothing like it. Nirvana, you know, these were all groundbreaking, you know, genres of music, little subgenres that they carved out for themselves that no one ever heard it, but then they put themselves out there to crowds that were accustomed to hearing something else, and they fucking nailed it, man. Like they hit it out the park. So, you know, I understand there's a balance that we have to walk between paying the bills and pleasing the crowd, but I am very, very desperate, very thirsty to hear the fresh new sound that's going to come out from Guyana, from wherever else. But I mean, if we can produce it, that would be great, you know? I'm absolutely...
I feel like you can't put that on him, though. It's not...
No, I'm not saying,
you know.
Richie, go and stop singing Chutney and do your thing, you know? But I think there needs to be that... there needs to be that drive behind the creatives, you know, of other people saying, hey, man, we want fresh. I want to hear something fresh, something new.
Who's the most original artist you know? Then let's talk about... That's a good point, though. But
Guyanese?
who's the most original, other than you, in your opinion?
I would absolutely say Mystic.
Okay.
I would absolutely say Mystic.
As an original sound.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. I would say Mystic.
Yeah.
He's like...
What's his sound, if you were to describe it?
I think innately he loves reggae. So he wanted to sing pop. He loved pop music as he was growing up, and then when he reached, because Guyana, we're, you know, not as evolved with our engineers and the music world. There was a lot of, you know, soca and reggae doing at the time.
Yeah,
so
pop
like,
is very heavily produced.
So
yeah.
Where are you gonna fall? So he kind of found a bit of a balance with his sound on the reggae music, and then he kind of fell in love with it, as far as I know. But most of his music is reggae music. But he had told me a story where, you know, when he was growing up, he always had this dream of becoming like a pop star. Yeah, that was the type of music. But he has a thing about him, and it's something I admire very much, and I try to, you know, maybe emulate it a time or two, is to say that when he goes on stage, he dreads singing other people's music.
Yeah.
Like, he don't do that shit for nothing. And there's something that I have, you know, adapted. And a lot of events when you go to, people like, hey, sing a song now, sing the mass song. Be like, yo, relax.
Yeah.
Like, we ain't doing that. There's not karaoke session.
Yeah.
Or we's not anybody else. We ain't doing that. We doing we own music. And now, but it's taken me a while, because obviously you're not going to have an immediate discography that you could just go and sing to everybody. No, you can take time, can be the factor where, you know, you can take your time and release all your music. Then all of a sudden you got enough that you could do a whole performance, right? I've reached to this stage, and a lot of...
As in, you think your catalog is big enough?
Oh, yeah.
now?
Yeah.
You do have a lot of stuff.
Yeah. So whenever I perform, I get a lot of times. And just last week Friday, I had a private. I do a lot of private events. By the way, I'm not really out on poster events. It's a lot of private events. They can afford to pay me. I charge
Yeah.
a heavy fee.
Just to cut you there quickly, but you know, it's funny you say that because I've heard this about you before. A mutual friend of mine had told me that.
Yeah.
Said, you know, this guy is killing it at private events. And it's funny that you're doing so well, but it's the big stage one-off stuff that means the most to you. Because I'm sure I don't know the numbers. I'm not pocket watching anybody, but I'm sure you're making, you're one of the higher earners in the industry. You have to be, just given the numbers, given that you travel abroad, you know. So my thing is that you're doing so well. Why does the other stuff matter? You know, if you're so ahead of the game.
Was that a question?
Well, I mean, I'm just saying, I just don't understand why is the need to perform at these quote unquote national events?
It's marketing for your brand at the end of the day. I mean, yeah, you could perform for 200 people in a small gathering, but I mean, if you want eyes really on you, if your dream is to be on bigger stages and different countries and stuff like that, it's more easily to be seen on a big stage, right? I mean, it's just.
But it's a big stage here, and I'm not saying obviously I'm not saying don't be patriotic, but I'm saying, you know, you're building your brand, you're having bookings, you have a solid catalog, you're getting booked abroad where you have a bigger fan base.
Yeah.
Why not build that? Is it just that, oh, I want my people to love me?
Not necessarily. I mean, of course, I want my people to love me, but like I said, let me give an example. Whenever there's show at the stadium, I mean, there have been events where there's thousands of people that attend. For example, Clash of the Titans is one of the events that I think probably the biggest Chutney event in the entire Caribbean. 10,000 people at the National Stadium. Fortunately, I performed there last year when I had it, and after that, I got calls from a lot of different. I got calls from people from the Netherlands who never knew about me. And this is just giving you an example. I got called from the people from the Netherlands who wanted to do collabs, who wanted to book me for shows. I got called from people from Suriname. And these things, you know, it's one event can make such a difference on Guyana's big stage, as we would call it. I mean, it's not as when you go overseas, it's still a small space. It's like there's like a mantra you're going to perform at. If you understand, it's still a small, relatively small thing. So I mean, the biggest stage for us, it's going to be the Guyana National Stadium. Okay. For anybody, right? And I think the exposure is there more. A lot of people look at the lives and they're all around the world, you know. So there's a lot more opportunity that comes out of it. Understood. So that is one of, and if you're looking at it from a perspective as you want to build your brand and you want recognition and you just want to grow, whether it means performing in other countries, other territories, or doing collaborations with people out of Guyana, those would be the places that you would want to be.
Do you have an agent or a manager?
Fuck no.
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 Why'd you say fuck no?
I do that shit myself. I don't need anybody to talk to me. So I did have.
But you get that's what like a good. I'm not saying like what a good manager does is all that shit you just said, in terms of finding and managing bookings.
I really
organizing that so you can concentrate on creatives.
I wish somebody could give me a contact for somebody that you just described.
Good. So that's my next thing in terms of support services for creatives.
Well, it's all about, it goes back to market, right? You can't have agents if there's no market. You know, I mean, you still have to pay the agent.
There's no music agents in Guyana. There's no one like managing talent. There's no one doing.
I think
I don't know.
I
ask
people.
it. I don't know.
There's a few.
There
people.
are a few producers that manage their talents.
Yeah.
So that
producers are producers, no? Producers are more.
But they do.
So they double agent. As,
yes.
Okay.
There are a few producers who's gonna set up gigs and they're gonna speak for you and negotiate your contract and stuff like that. But that's as far as it goes.
Yeah.
With our market.
So out of ignorance, I'm just thinking in the music world, you have your agent manager and they're handling your bookings and your marketing and your business side. and then the producer is the one who sits in the studio and actually does the mixing.
In an ideal world, yes.
In an ideal world,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Okay, we just don't have that here,
No.
right?
Yeah, you know. I don't know.
Oh yeah.
So any aspiring, music agents that are watching, there's a open opportunity.
Yeah, he's
for-
making a ton of money.
for
You gotta get on
business to
that.
get into. But I mean, like I'm saying, you got to start somewhere, right?
Yeah,
I
no,
mean,
definitely.
And
But that's
a collaborative approach in the music industry in any country. That's kind of what it takes to get yourself out there. Unless you want to go.
Sure.
I'm probably speaking out of ignorance, but I don't think Bob was big in Jamaica until he moved up to England and got his stuff out there. And
I don't know.
Guys like Beanie Man and Buju and them, all their money was made in the States because in Jamaica the music was distributed freely. So you're making your money off of shows. Yeah, you're going up and
I
busting
think there's
your ass.
also there's probably not as nearly as much structure as in the U.S. for music in Jamaica, but I think the Jamaica definitely, if you can be platformed in Jamaica, your music definitely reaches
for sure, yeah.
the Caribbean. Well, for a while now. I mean,
Yeah.
dancehall has been huge since forever.
Yeah.
I mean, in our lifetime at least, I think. And
What's the pay like on them shows? Like if you were to do what's it called, Clash of the Titans? Like what's an average? What would you make?
Before you
for-
answer that question, is that standard or is it negotiated? If it's negotiated, you don't have to tell us, or you could tell us what you want. If
Give
it's
us an
standard, you could
estimate.
just tell us because it's standard.
Yeah. What would an art? What?
So public knowledge, right? I'll tell you guys this. So public knowledge, because they had a big incident with Savita Singh and who's from Trinidad and the promoter last year, I believe they had.
I met her. She did the
good.
Emerging Voices show.
Right. So
with
they
Bishop.
had a big issue where her time slot was kind of shifted back a little bit, and then the rainfall, and then she said like, I'm not performing anymore because my contract basically said I gotta perform at this time. The time gone, so I got later. Jump back in the car, gone back to the hotel, jump on ship plane, and I'm gone to Trinidad, right? And it was out there that she got paid like $5,000 or something like that, like $5,000 US for the shoot.
5,000 US.
Yeah, like 5,000 US, meaning all expense paid. Well, granted so, because she's one of the bigger names in the industry, right? But for her, yeah.
Is that $5,000 in pocket, or is that $5,000 she finds hotel, she finds plane ticket?
That is in pocket, and then they provide everything else.
Okay.
Transportation,
That's usually how the
accommodation.
deals are structured.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Kind of just
Yeah.
everything's taken.
But
care of.
that's for her. She's on the higher end of the spectrum. For me, to be honest with you guys, I never saw a cent because there was an envelope. I didn't collect it. I gave it to my producer and I said, whatever it is, which probably wasn't anything much, just put it towards our music and I'll probably take a project off of it. Right. And yeah, that's it. I didn't take it. And because I didn't want, I probably wouldn't have been anything. And for me, like, the little ego in me would be like, why am I performing for this shit? But at the end of the day, on the other end, I just looked at it as free promotion for myself. I just looked at it, okay, you're doing this is marketing for your brand. So we just kind of go, click it off your bucket list so that you can say, hey, I perform in front of this amount of people and more eyes are on you and have a good time.
Yeah.
And see where it goes. So that was it. That was it for me. But in terms of my fees, what I charge, the average person in Guyana, I charge probably 2.5 times more per event. Mm-hmm. And for the bigger names, Chutney World I'm talking about, not in whatever other world, dancehall or reggae and what's not. I probably charge 2.5 times more.
Two and
Two and a
a half
half.
times more what?
Than the market price.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because
Because you're in demand.
Because
you're in
not
demand.
necessarily. Not
Okay.
I no. Not,
That's what you
Just
want.
because that's what's
yeah,
worth your
because
while.
I feel that's what I'm valued. So
Yeah, absolutely.
if you don't want to pay, like I've turned on so many shows because like, but these people take them. Like, no, not sorry.
Let's talk about this because I like this conversation, and as a person who owns a business that does similar things, these are decisions I sometimes have to make as well. But I know artists in particular, musicians get a bad rap for this because a lot of them are public with it.
Yeah.
So when you're offered something that isn't worth it to you financially, you don't have a problem turning it down because obviously you have a job, you have a day job.
Yeah.
You don't really need this. You value your time, blah blah blah. Do you think that has any negative effect on your career?
No, I don't. If anything, I think I want more people to know that I charge a shitload of money. Because no, that I want people to know I charge a shitload of money because there's a market out there that pays. There's people out there that pay, and the people who probably approach me at the set time, it's just maybe not my clients.
Yeah.
Those are not my clients, but my clients will eventually reach to me. All my focus is just keep making music, keep being innovative, keep doing your thing, and your clients will reach to you. That's my thing. So if anything, I'd say no. I don't think it does.
Good. And you have the power to do that. You have enough market experience. I see a lot of artists go online and vent about all this stuff. In my opinion, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, is that once you've turned it down and people start to, okay, well, maybe Richard is not just worth it. It's not worth it. We're going to stop sending him bookings, which obviously they haven't because you're still getting bookings. But you can't now go around and vent on social media and say, oh, these people don't want to pay and this is just, people are so cheap, blah, blah, blah. I feel like the fact that you've turned it down, you got to shut up and take it, right? I mean,
Yeah.
is that your mentality? Like if the phone stops ringing, that's on you. But you've decided that and that's fine.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll tell you, I'm people probably know this, but I was one of the persons. Very recently, I put a post when I think they had this big thing in the media where Cartel and the Trinidad, or one of them countries, I think he didn't show up for a show and the promoter, he done give you $950,000
This was in
US.
Trinidad or something?
Yeah.
I read about
And he
this.
charged 1.3 million. So I made a friendly jab. I thought it was friendly, but I didn't know it ruffled a lot of people the wrong way. So I was like, I just put it up and be like, wow, $1.3 million for Guyana had to pay for Cartel, right? I didn't even know we get paid for I just made a text on my social media page, right? I was like, wow, $1.3 million Guyana had to pay for Cartel and paying the locals $500, which is probably what they get paid anyways, maybe $700, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were for it. A lot of artists were in it, like, be like, yo, big up yourself. A lot of people call, a lot of artists call and be like, yo, I'm happy you said that. We can't say it. Again, coming back to they got walk on eggshells, right? I'm happy that you said it, but we can't say it, but I'm happy you did. A lot of promoters, and the promoters in Guyana got this, what's the word I'm looking for? Consensus. Promoters in Guyana got this, that
But sorry, while you gather your thoughts,
Sorry, just quickly before that, you guys want a refill?
yes.
Yes.
my question was, and this is like the WNBA debate, where people say that NBA players make more than WNBA players. Well, NBA players bring in more seats. They fill the seats as compared to a WNBA game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, isn't it the same as Cartel, where Cartel would have a bigger pull, so he makes more money, and he makes more money for the promoter, and therefore the promoter can pay him more money. So in terms of the pay gap, like, it's kind of justifiable based on what kind of pull he brings to the shows.
Mm-hmm.
No?
Yeah, listen, I'm not hating on Cartel. Cartel's one of my favorite singers, right?
I'm just using Cartel
I
as
know,
an example.
let's use
I'm
him.
just saying,
Let's use him.
anybody across the board, once people hear, whoever it is coming to this show, 5,000 people will come because they want to see this person.
Mm-hmm.
And then they say, well, Richie's going to come, and Richie's got 500 fans, let's say, in
Yeah.
wherever it is.
Yeah.
500 people, you're going to pull 500 people. The pay that you get is commensurate to the type of pull that your name commands.
Yeah.
So, in terms of the comparison, I don't know if it's
Fair.
yeah.
Okay, good. Noted.
Your thoughts?
Noted. I'm not gonna rebut that. That's absolutely true. But my thing was, I'm not saying you gotta pay these people Cartel money. Cartel's Cartel,
Yeah.
right?
Make it worth the time though.
Yeah. I mean, 500. Come on.
Yeah.
What about 1,000?
Yeah.
What about 1,000? I mean, asking for 1.3 million. That's what I was saying. And again, there's this general consensus where promoters say And they abuse me down on the internet. A lot of them like bash down, no, they throw shows and they boss and thing, and I want give y'all tickets, like I'll sell y'all, pay y'all in tickets, basically. I would take, personally, I would take that, because I would get a shitload of tickets sold. But they want big the artists. And you know what? A promoter even called me and he said, and he kind of broke it down. It was good dialogue with us. He was like, I just kind of want to pick your brain. He's like, you don't know me, but I'm this person. I can't remember his name. Apparently he's a big guy around Guyana. And he was like, I just kind of want to pick your brain, you know, to see where it is and what's not in the situation. And he broke it down from their perspective. And I understood too. And in my mind, I'm like, oh, fuck, maybe I should have get the whole story before I kind of go and make this stupid post. But it's already there, and it's already endorsed by a bunch of singers and a bunch of other people who feel as though that you know, it was unfair and what's not. But at the same time, let me just clear it up to say, I wasn't asking for, I know it goes with hand in hand where the strength of your discography or your name is gonna draw on it, and by extension, that's where you're gonna be paid, right? I get that, but what I was saying is, 500, 600, it's for these big shows it seems kind of disrespectful. It just seems kind of disrespectful. That's all I was saying.
What's respectful?
I mean, between 1,000 and 2,000.
Do you think they offer that because that's what the artists
Absolutely.
The artists say.
Absolutely. That was my next point.
Bring it.
So from the promoter.
Guys should unionize.
No, good.
Right?
So that's what I'm about to say. So when the promoter said that, in my mind, I'm like, okay. And he was like, I've seen your page. You're very consistent. I like it. But go and show me, come off this phone and go show me now, five other singers that is as consistent, that posts every day, that makes content, that reshares their stuff, that makes skit off of the music, that try to collaborate with other people, and, you know, find some more people that is doing the same thing. And I'm like, fuck, like, all right. He's like, these guys are making music one time a year when it's competition time, and then they fizzle out. They're gone back into the shell. They're lost. We can't find them, right? And then there's a big fight about we're not paying them enough and what's not. And in my mind, I'm thinking, damn you singers, y'all dep on
But that's how I look at it, Richard. And again, I feel like every time I kind of mention this, I speak in from a, even though it's not, but it's like a somehow privileged point of view that, sorry, you have to work hard to sell your creativity. Whereas, like, because you have a job and you're doing this and you're pumping out content. Why are other people not doing that but getting upset when they're not getting paid what they want? I don't understand that. And I think, like, my question to you is, and I'll be more practical about this argument, is you obviously have a job which finances you making music. It costs money to make music. Forget your day job. If you're just looking at the money you're making in music versus the money you're paying to produce music, are you in the green?
I am absolutely in the green. So I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of people don't know this. When I initially started it, I had a small like a real small loan that I took from my wife. When I say alone, I mean, I just like, wow,
Those are the worst.
let me this little bread, man. She's like, yeah,
as if you don't owe them enough.
No,
I mean, like, give my little money, man.
Never let you forget it.
I mean, like, give my little money. Let me do this thing. Obviously, it's our money, but, you know, wife is the boss. So, like, give my little bread. Let me. I want to do this thing. I want to follow this little stupid passion. And she's like, all right, we ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing to do. Not like you're going anyways. COVID, you got the home, so okay, cool. Do your thing. And since then, and since shows and residuals from distribution and these type of things, and endorsement from brands that I get, I am brand ambassador for a cognac and energy drink.
That's cool.
Yeah, beverage called Space. Okay. It's like real high end stuff, like 20 grand, 22,000 for a case, but it's really good. And I'm one of the first brand ambassador for them, and I've been with the company for like a couple of years. Well, I've also been brand ambassador for Clothing Store and a bunch of other places. But all of these money, so I open a separate account where that's my singing account. So all the money that I make, I kind of put it into there and I plug it back into the music. So whenever I am doing sponsored boosts and these things, whenever I got to pay for music video and hire this actor, actress, dancer, pay for meals for the people, buy drinks, what's not. I use money from my singing account. Obviously, I've repaid my wife, and she's come one time and said, "Wow, give me a little spend, give me a little, what we should say, give me a little blier, wherever it is." And I'm like, "Yeah, all right, cool." So the other night, I drunk, we went and I performed. This is a side story. I got to perform. So I collect me pay. I'm coming home. I get high. So I say, "You want it? Take everything." When next morning I wake up, I say, "Where me money? You remember you gave me the money last night? Pour me now." I'm drunk. I said, "God, I can't believe I do this, but I can get back my money." She's laugh. She's like, "Yeah, I just take a little bit. I put it in. It's all right."
Over regret.
Hey,
Yeah.
men are we're our worst enemy. Yeah?
What else you want?
Yeah.
What else you want? Take it, man. Take it.
Yeah, no, but music. But I am absolutely agree. Music has allowed me a lot of luxuries. Music has allowed me a lot. I buy a fucking 2021 Tacoma
Yeah.
with it, sold it back, bought it, sold it back, went on big luxurious vacations.
But Richard, how do you get people to understand that? How do you get like the average person who, not the average person, just the musician who is frustrated and wondering why they're not getting the support they want? How do you get them to understand that work ethic, that strategic promotion, self-promotion, the strategic financial plan you have for that, opening an account, you know, treating that as a separate business? You know, how do we get creatives to, yes, it's good to create and it's good to make meaningful work, but for it to be sustainable, it has to be, you know, business driven. How do we get them to understand this, or at least make the step in the right direction towards more sustainable work?
It's across the board, Alex. I see it with small business owners.
But artists are different.
Are they? I mean, you're
I feel
creating.
like artists
You're creating a product.
should be more open-minded.
But like you're creating a product, and you're bridging the gap between, you know, getting your product out there and then complaining that the big supermarkets aren't carrying your product. You know, but are you putting the time and effort behind finding alternative means of getting your product out there?
This is my rebuttal to that. When you're an artist, and you can please tell me if I'm wrong, the whole business model is self-promotion. You know, it takes nothing to pick up your phone that you're probably on all day, flip the camera over to selfie mode, and do some drop to get people's attention.
Yeah.
And that backfires, as we've seen sometimes, in anybody who's a creative.
Yeah.
You know, it's not going to be taken well, but it's free.
But for
You know?
creatives,
You're a
any
creative, you gotta
publicity,
figure out a way.
any publicity is good publicity, no? I mean,
Well, you
I beg to differ.
I don't know, man. I think, you know, if we...
I mean, after time has passed, I mean, maybe now I could say, yeah, but at that point,
I bet that the Chinese video got a lot more people who might not have heard of
Oh,
it.
absolutely.
Before we
Absolutely.
get onto that, and I really want us to spend a segment on that, but tell me, how would you get them to get it?
I mean,
I'm not putting you on a pedestal.
No,
by the
no,
way.
no,
I'm
no,
just saying, you know, how do you encourage people to get that, to think that way?
so I'll share a little story on that specifically. It was me trying to encourage fellow singers to, like, you know, be consistent, do your thing, keep pushing, release music, don't be afraid, you know, don't care what people say, just keep doing your thing. And I think it has a lot to do with yourself. I don't think it's something you can beat into people. I really don't think it's something you can beat into people. I mean, I hope people see this interview and some of them be inspired by it, and some of them look at it and be like, oh shit, okay, cool, we could do this, and kind of make a fucking checklist or something. But I don't think it's something you can really beat into people, because the business model is not that as you say, it's really not that hard to do. You know, it's not rocket science. Like you say, you got your phone, it's all about self-promotion. You got your phone, make content whole day. You gotta be, I think for me, I have 20% singing ability and music talent than 90% of this music industry. 20% of what they can do, of 90% of the whole pie, right? But I think one of the things that makes me stand out is because I'm very consistent. I beat a lot of people with consistency. Yeah. I'm very, very, very tenacious, very consistent when it comes to this. And really and truly, I am not doing it for money or it never started like that, or money or the likes of the fame. I don't give a fuck about that. I don't care about who like and who we like and who, you know, who is gonna if somebody is gonna say, hey, Richard the Jackass, this, I'm not doing it for that. Like, I don't give a fuck. I'm doing it for me. At the end of the day, if I make something and I don't never release a song that I don't personally feel that I like, I don't never do it. If I release it, and there was one or two songs that I really didn't want to release because I thought it was shit. One of them was Burby's Gal. I never liked it. When we did it after the end of it and what's not, I was like, this song sound like shit. Like, I really didn't like it. And then Darryl spent one last session on it, and he made a couple of tweaks and, you know, kind of put in a little bit more drums and thing. And I was like, all right, I guess it's subpar. Cool. Just let me just drop it with no promotion, no pre-promotion on it. But again, coming back to answer your question, it's you have got to want to do it. Nobody can tell you to do it. You've got to want to. There's it. You can't beat it into people.
What I was going to say, Alex, I think it's also helpful that he has a background in business, a background in sales and marketing, and he understands the value of promotion and the value of targeted promotion.
I was actually thinking that earlier.
Absolutely,
you know,
brother.
Especially in Answer McCall,
Absolutely.
which is so closely intertwined with entertainment. You know, it's like it's a great pre-college to what you got into.
The training you get at Answer, you know, doing what him and I did there. I mean, it's invaluable. And when you can take that and apply that to other aspects of your life, that, you know, that in itself is impressive. Now, when he said just now, it's not rocket science. It's not rocket science to you because you have that framework coming out of sales and distribution, that you understand how promotions work.
True.
And sometimes what we think is common sense, what we think comes naturally to us, it's actually a result of the training that we've had from before and just us applying it to different avenues. But there's a lot of people who what you say is rocket science, their brain doesn't work that way because they haven't been trained or they haven't been programmed that way. You know? And I find that in my line of work, I find that coming a lot where there are things that I think are basic understanding. This is a basic concept that sometimes it would take a while to explain to other people because it doesn't come as naturally to them, you know? And just as another thing is the greedy capitalist in the room, I think there's definitely room for business managers and agents in the entertainment industry in Guyana. I think there's a massive opening there. Just listening to what you're telling me and listening to what you're saying, just for creatives, I think someone could
There's definitely an opportunity for someone to guide artists into just to do exactly what he's doing.
Marketing and promotion.
You know, like put them on all the platforms, get them to learn some analytics, understand what their work is doing. And
write
then
this
sell it
down,
from there.
side business.
No, so
write this down.
You make
Find young talent.
So
promote young talent.
to add what you guys are saying too, it's I don't know how I'm old as shit. I don't know how long my guy in this be bouncing around like a peacock on the stage.
How old are you?
Very old. 40.
You're 40?
Not yet, but soon.
No, yeah, you're young. You got time.
But bro, for my last couple of birthdays, I always be 40s.
Yeah. I hear you.
But what I'm saying is, I think eventually it's gonna reach a stage where I'm gonna kind of hang it up, maybe sooner rather than later. I'm not sure, but whenever I do, I think like writing music for people and like managing their talent is definitely something I would want to do.
Yeah, man.
You know, get them registered to the right places. You know, reach out to government, reach out to promoters. You know, help them along the way, for a commission fee, obviously. So I think it's something I would be very interested in. I think I would be quite.
There's the commission fee, Richie, and then there's the fact that you would be contributing to the sector in general. You'll be contributing to the bigger whole, in a manner that it's not being serviced. Then, you know, I'd love to see that. I'd love to see someone just bringing out. You know, when Dax had the bar in Station Street, one of the things I was telling him to do, which he could never do because there wasn't the market for it, was to have an open mic, have singer-songwriters come in and, you know, perform for 50 minutes or whatever it is, and just, you know, no judgment, no shame, no, it's not like nothing professional. I told Maya and Justin that's something I would love to see them do at Black Magenta. just have an open mic night. You've been to clubs in the States where there's been
Yeah.
open mic nights, and sometimes it's shit, and sometimes it's
Fantastic,
entertaining, and
yeah.
sometimes it's fucking fantastic, and that's where you find the next. That's where you find the next fresh talent. It's those little, those quiet, boys and girls who go up on stage and they're afraid and then they open their mouth and they're just fucking amazing.
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
That's
Love
where
to
you
see
find
that.
it.
Love to see that.
Yeah.
Let's get to what we were talking about initially, and I'll tell you what Richard and I were
Why
talking
am I being kept in suspense? Man?
Yeah, it's been an
I feel
hour
like I'm
and
the
20.
butt of the
We still
fucking
didn't tell you.
joke here. Yeah.
So anyway, going back to when I contacted you, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, I can't thank you enough for coming. I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying having you, talking to you. I love talking to artists, and our mutual friend who put me on to you has had nothing but good things to say. As a matter of
Appreciate it.
fact, even though in our Jared and I's last piece when we brought you up, even though I thought we were all complimentary and whatever, our friend, when he saw the clip, he was like, I love the topic, but Richard didn't mean it like that, man. Richard, and
Straight to your defense.
he just
yeah.
like it was like all over your defense. I'm
Yeah.
like, I had no, I totally like I don't think he had any bad intention, but this is my perspective. Blah blah blah. We had a conversation. So you're obviously loved, and you're a great guy. When you open videos or content like what we had recorded and put as a clip, and you see that, does your heart like skip a beat of like, oh shit, like what are these people about to like, or because you said people are sending it to you,
Right.
so like how do you sort of, are you like, this is just par for the course, or is it like, oh shit, like I don't know?
No, it wasn't. I mean, if it was a day or 2 days after the incident happened, and then I was like, I'm so far removed from this. It really don't matter. But then I think you started it off, and then you started with a compliment. I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I might get shit on later, but at least it was good at the beginning.
It's the compliment side.
Yeah. So
compliment, shit, compliment.
My sister said it to me, a few other friends, and they were like, yo, shared back. Another friend messaged like, don't fucking share that thing. I was like, all right, cool. I'm not going to share it.
So the thing we were talking about, Jared, when Richard came in, he was like, I had just had this suspicious feeling I was about to walk into like an ambush.
Oh no.
And I told him, I said, it's so funny you say that, because one of the questions I had for him, because we don't know each other before tonight. Like this is the first time we're meeting each other.
I was gonna ask. I didn't know that.
This is the first time him and I
Yeah.
have met each other. So I was like, it's so funny. That's the first thing you say to me, because one of the questions I was gonna ask you is, what if you just sat down here and we just spent the whole hour shitting on you?
Listen to
like
you.
just saying like, what you did is so terrible. It offended so much people. Like,
Yeah.
how would you even like deal with that? And I feel like we haven't really seen like, because you're here and you're still you, but you're a reasonable guy. You're able to talk. We're able to talk through things. If you're in a position where you're challenged and called out, and people don't do that face to face because they don't have the balls. Everyone types it out online or says what they have to say. But you hardly ever see people coming to say, hey, I don't like what you did, and what you're doing is wrong, blah, blah, blah. How would you deal with something like that? Or how do you think someone who takes creative risks should deal with something like that?
Stay calm. There's the first thing. Just try to find a reason. I think everybody is entitled to their own opinion. I believe everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I mean, obviously they got a bunch of keyboard warriors on the internet. You can't stop though. And I've learned a very long time. Maybe it took me 6 months in doing music to say, yo, just don't listen to the noise. Don't bother with this. At first, it used to get to me. I'd be like, I just wanna. You guys ever see this movie Jay and Silent Bob?
Yeah, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Good. When the internet, when the people type in a bunch of stimulus, and like the last part, they just kind of flying to all different states and just beating them up. Just are you Gyaff7247 that said Jay and Silent Bob suck this no ever? They were like, yes, so beating it up.
Yeah.
Like I at the first I was like, I should just cause these fucking people down. Like, what's wrong with these people? But then eventually you realize it's the territory. Right? That's the territory. You got to deal with it. If you can't deal with it, then you need to be doing something else.
Yeah.
And I don't respond. I don't blast nobody down. I don't cuss nobody personally on the internet. I don't. Have you guys seen a song I did called Broken System?
Yeah, that was you did that after
2 days after
Yeah.
the Chinese song. So that was just me kind of absorbing everything everyone was
But
saying.
you responded through your art, which I respect.
Oh
too.
yeah,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I
oh,
love
yeah.
that.
And I was like, okay, cool. So I'm gonna take everything that y'all say, summarize it, and I'm gonna give you one response.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna call anybody's name. I'm not gonna cuss you down. But I'm just gonna kill you with pure facts. Let me just put it this way. And that's all I wanted to do.
That's what an artist should do, even if they don't agree with you.
Right.
Respond through your art. You don't have to come and explain everything you've said.
Yeah.
And but to that note, I will say, like I you know the Chinese song, we could just talk on it briefly because I just feel like we owe it to.
On behalf of the Chinese population in Guyana, I would like to see.
Yeah. Me, who is an Indian, I would like to
see.
stand up on behalf of it because
I
this is
would
the
like to
internet,
see.
right? This is how the internet is. And but the song, I like. I thought it was. I didn't really have any particular feelings about it. I didn't think it was my favorite song from you. I thought that like when I watched it though, I was just chuckling to myself the whole time. I was like, because it did what it was trying to do. It got my attention, right?
I want to know what.
Hold on, before you ask
Yeah.
that question, you weren't even like the main feature on that.
I was.
But you seem to be taking most of the licks.
I did. Why?
Why?
Tell me why.
Because you're not black.
I don't know. I'm asking you to tell me why.
The other guy's black, right?
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
So
I'm asking you guys to tell me why.
I'm
Why
just
y'all
saying
think I'm
that-
taking all the licks on it? Why do you? I'm not. I'm asking you. You guys are the consumers of the music. Why you think?
Are you more popular?
I thought
at
it was your song. That's
But it wasn't. I only sing 8 bars on it. There was 2 minutes and a half of music, and I only sing for like 20 seconds.
I didn't know that. I thought it was your song.
It's not.
Okay,
Okay. Well, so why do you think?
because you're more popular.
Well, I just thought because but that comment because he's not black was meant because it obviously played on a stereotype. The other singer is of that ethnicity, and it's just to me it felt like messy to have to give him that, and also he's not as popular as Richard, in my opinion. That's my opinion on the situation.
That's why he's not getting flack for it, and Richard is.
I don't know. That was just what I ignorantly assumed.
Yeah.
But Richard could maybe.
But
correct
that's a
me if
good
I'm wrong.
assumption. I feel as though that's a very good assumption.
It's just easy to pin it on you because I feel something. I'm angry because this clearly is offensive to me. But who do I have to shoot that on?
Besides Alex, who else came after you? Like who else?
Wait, not Alex.
You know,
we were
who
all
else-
here
who
talking
else- who
about
else-
this.
There were
who
a couple
else?
people. There were a couple people. So the Chinese Association, big up yourself, Chinese don't know who's this, but the Chinese Association, they never said to ban the song. They said, just be mindful and, because people are going through, the looting and stuff like that. People lost stuff and
of course.
whatnot. They were like, be mindful. They didn't say ban the song. There were a few people.
Before we get into that, what did the ERC tell you? I would love to know that.
Oh, ERC contacted you?
Oh yeah.
No way.
Oh yeah, they did. So they put
that
out-
was a
there was
whole
a big
discussion.
There was a big.
I didn't know they actually followed through.
Oh,
I
yeah,
thought
yeah,
there
yeah.
was a call for the ERC
Oh, no.
Oh.
to ban him, but I didn't know they actually
Yeah,
friggin'
yeah, yeah.
called you.
So there was a call, and then I kind of jumped ahead of it because I don't want anything to come and catch me off guard. So there was a big statement, and obviously the ERC doesn't work on their own. They work through people making formal complaints, right? That's how it works. People go in, they fill out the form, they say, I am the Guyanese Karen, and I kind of just I just gotta go and say, get this boy off the fucking internet, right? So the Guyanese Karen them went and do what I had to do.
Karen does.
Yeah, the Guyanese they went and do what I had to do. And the ERC put out a statement saying, we calling for a ban and this and that and whatever. And I was like, I responded to them very respectfully. And I said, it's our creative rights. And, you got to give us more than this to say why you wanted ban, right?
Wait, what was the reasoning? Sorry.
Why they wanted it? Because why they wanted it to be banned. They said it was offensive and just the regular generic shit. It was offensive and they gotta keep harmony and peace and
Blasphemous libel.
yeah whatever. No, it's not not that negative. Yeah, that was good. But when that happened, I jumped ahead. I spoke to the guys. I spoke to the team. Why I was being put front and center of this is because I jumped in front of the bullet. The other guys, them obviously it's their project, but I felt as though we needed to lay some foundation for say that hey we were respectful, we responded, and not just kind of left it and just operate like a script.
Yeah.
Like we key about nothing, right?
Yeah.
And then I did a letter as well. I wrote a letter and sent it to the ERC and say, hey, we're willing to have meaningful dialogue.
You engaged.
Right.
Yeah.
To resolve this. They reached out and they said, hey, we want to meet with you guys. Da, 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 da. We went in and we met with them, a whole committee of 10, 12, I can't remember how many people.
Really?
Yeah. Different race, Rasta, Chinese, African, whoever.
And they were open to dialogue.
Well, yes, they were. It was a very peaceful discussion, very amicable, and they said they started it off. They kind of broke the ice, and they started off by saying, "Hey, we couldn't demand you guys to be here, but we can tell if immediately you're very respectful and very responsible because you came in and it seems as though you want to get this past you and what's not." And he's like, "Yeah, that's true," and then they're like. They wanted to hear our side of it and what's not. We told them it was a long discussion, and they were like, obviously, well, they sell out whoever it is that went to complain. They said her name. I'm not gonna say her name, and she's insignificant, but she knows herself. But yeah, they were like, they said that they wanted to meet us and the person afterwards, but at the end of it, essentially, they said, we apologize for jumping the gun. We feel as though we kind of jumped the gun on it by telling you guys to take it down. We see that you guys are collaborating and you have different ethnicity, and we kind of really love that. Unfortunately, things are gonna rub different people the wrong way, and they at the end of the day they have to do their jobs, which we understand, right? So, but nothing ever came out of it. The person never showed up. We never.
If the person showed up, what would have happened?
Nothing. So, but the end result was we weren't gonna take anything down.
You think good, and I'm happy to hear that. I mean, look, I'm happy to hear that there's dialogue because that is essentially what the ERC should be doing, right? Forcing dialogue. They shouldn't be throwing people in jail. They should force a dialogue.
But I don't think they did, though.
I have a question.
Tell me.
Is the ERC the watchdog or the attack dog? So my question is, did any one of them at the ERC hear the song prior to the complaint? Do you know?
I don't know.
So this is what I want to know. Are they the ones being the guardians of the media, making sure that, hey, when something comes up, they're going to call you up and be like, hey, that wasn't too cool?
I don't think so. I don't know.
So they only act.
No.
They only act if it's reported. So they're attack dogs.
So I wouldn't call them attack dogs because they address the problem. I don't think they, like Richard said, let's not paint them as attack dogs. They were diplomatic about it. They opened some dialogue.
Absolutely.
I have a question to follow up on that. The person who reported it, what do you think would have happened if she showed up? And why do you think she didn't show up if she felt so strongly about it?
I couldn't say why she didn't show up, but if she had shown up, it would have just been we explaining. I think it would have just been us pulling the same rope at two different ends because she would have. Obviously, it's a complaint, and this is something that we said to the committee too. It was like, where is this actually going to go? Because if you are the one who made a complaint, it means you have a strong opinion about something and you're probably not going to shake on it, right? And then we're telling you, we're not taking it. We're not going to take it down because you understand from our perspective where it all came from, right? So what's going to happen? They were like, let's just meet and we'll figure it out. But we can promise you, we understand from your guys' perspective, but we just want for you guys to meet. It never happened.
Last question on that complaint issue. Feel free to not answer if you don't want to. Was that person of Chinese descent?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
I love it. Okay, so, all right. Move aside from that. I'm really happy to hear that that's how it worked. You guys had dialogue. That gives me some sort of hope. I still am not sure how the ERC plans to use their body in an effective way. I mean, that's effective, but it's only effective because you're here telling us. It's not. They haven't opened this dialogue nationally. We're doing that right now. Well, for the 11 people. But going back to the whole concept.
Kelsey watching 12.
Going back to the whole concept. What do you like looking back on it now? Like, what do you think? I mean, like, I maintain what I said, whereas, like, you know, I didn't really get it in terms of, okay, well, it definitely addressed something that was there, but to me, from a creative point of view, there was no bookend where it's like, oh, there was a resolution at the end. It addressed an issue, and it brought the eyes because the issue is clearly there in society, but you know, what are we supposed to take away from that issue? And as the artist, I was just wondering if you're willing, you know, like, what was your thought process behind it?
Sure. That's a good question.
And I know it's not just you, by the way.
It's
It's your song, like you.
No, it's not.
Oh,
his.
no.
Well, he's a feature on the
I'm
song.
just a feature. I just wrote my 8
Who's-
bars.
So they came to you with this brainchild.
This song was around since January.
Uh-huh.
This song was around since January, just floating.
Uh-huh.
We shot the video a couple of weeks before the incident happened, and it was released like about 12 hours after the incident. But it, as you guys know how YouTube and stuff work, I mean, we had uploaded it way before anything had happened, right? You know how long it would take to shoot a music video and edit it and all these things, right? You guys go through that. So it's not to say, we write the song, this thing happened, we write the song, we did the video, that can't happen in 12 hours. We're not about to do that. You understand? So all these things, it was just so coincidental.
Yeah, the timing of it was fucked.
It was so
Well,
coincidental.
the video was. I mean, look, it's. I wouldn't have. We spoke about this earlier. Like, I wouldn't have been. The song, you listen to it and you're like, kind of. It just seems a bit kicks and off.
Mm-hmm.
But when you put the video to it, it's like, oh shit. Well, it's getting kind of real now. That's how I see it as an.
I got
objective
you.
view.
But so I'm gonna
So
answer.
what you're asking is, what is the story he was trying to tell with the song?
Yes.
Yeah, and what was the payoff in the end?
Yeah.
So can I ask you this? Have you ever seen? You just watching movies?
Of course. Yeah. Big
Good.
fan.
Have you seen The Italian Job?
Long time ago.
Cool.
The original?
Long
Cool.
Or the remake?
Have you seen Scarface?
Haven't seen Scarface.
Have you seen John Wick?
Yeah.
Have you ever listened to NWA music?
Sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of things in entertainment that it don't need to have a payoff. It's creativity at the end of the day, right? Insensitive, absolutely. Wrong time. Absolutely. I 100% sit on this chair and tell you it was very insensitive to drop the exact time.
I want to disagree with you with NWA. I'm a big NWA.
I love
West Coast
NWA. No,
rap
but I
fan.
love NWA. But
Those
then,
guys, they had a message. I get it.
Good, right?
It
no,
was crude as fuck, but they had a message.
good, cool. But you can understand. But you can understand from the police perspective and government perspective. From their music, it was anti-government, anti-police, and these type of things, which is a cause for chaos in the country, right? So, but they did the thing and stuff like that.
So what was your message?
I didn't have a fucking message. But if you're gonna tell me, if I say watching at it, and this was the general consensus of a lot of people, watching at it is going to create more criminals in society, or is gonna make people go out there and rob. You're absolutely wrong, because then you're telling me you going to watch John Wick can make you come out and feel like you want to go and get a fucking AK and start shoot up people. You understand? It's the exact same thing. It's literally the exact same thing.
I don't think I necessarily have that train of thought in terms of thinking it's gonna.
I was about to say too. I
Yeah.
don't think that either. I think it's more of like, and I made this bad. And again, our friend who was arguing on your behalf, who said the exact same thing you just said. I said, I hear that, but I don't accept it as a creative, because in that same vein, and I just used this bizarre example, I said, if I go and make a film, because I'm a filmmaker, I guess, and the film is just me beating the shit out of a woman, and it just ends. It ends there. It's terrible. It's a horrible thing.
What's the message?
But do I turn around and say, oh, well, this film was actually, it was on domestic violence? Like, do I just am I allowed to pass that off as an art form? You know, and they're differing severities. I'm not trying to like attack you. Or
I understand.
You,
No, I
you know where I'm
understand.
coming from. We're good.
Yeah.
You know, but I'm like, I was just trying to understand what am I supposed to take from it? Because in art, for me, you got to take something.
Yeah.
Right? So like, is it a commentary on society? Is it like, you know, what responsibility as the artist would you have to that, if any? And if you don't have any, that's
fine.
fine.
No,
too,
so
if it's your
okay,
opinion.
so my second part is exactly what you said too. And if you read in the description of Chutney, if you pull it up right now, I'm not telling you to do it now, but when you finish, go in the description part of it and you will read and see exactly what the message was, right? It's a part of our society. Crimes have been happening for so long, right? So what we did, Chutney don't know who's we, da 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 da. The video, it wasn't to incite riots, or our intention wasn't to promote crimes and these type of things. We even got a Chinese friend who loaned us her supermarket for say, cool, she can hold on to the cutlass.
No way.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, it's our friend. So you gotta look back at the video. So it's our friend. So she's in and she there behind and she got the cutlass and she just there thing and whatever. But if you look at the video, at the end, the only thing that is robbed, if you really pay attention, the only thing that is robbed from the supermarket is a fucking box of condom.
Is that right?
It's a box of condom.
I think-
Right?
So you don't make more scripts to rob the Chinese?
Right.
Well,
No.
honestly, like I think it was, and this is why I
Sorry.
said,
Before you, I'm sorry. So sorry.
Go ahead. Sorry.
Was there any message in the condom or no?
There wasn't no message in the condom, and also there was one person that we hold in his supermarket as he was shopping, and we checked in his wallet and he only had 500, and we just like slap you with the 500, give it back, and then gave him a space. We're how good. You go it or you run out and go along. So we give him people back. So it was like we got we got with the register and we run out and thing and stuff like that. But you see, when you put audio to video, you can take it the wrong way. You can absolutely take it the wrong way.
Yeah,
But-
of course.
But
I respect.
this is something what we were portraying is part of almost every other week that happens. But to say that our music was or could cause any further like looting and robbing and crimes and stuff, it can't. It's just a commentary on what happens in society. And if that reaches the people in certain levels where they can make a decision and kind of reform and get these youths off the street and these type of things and stuff like that, then we would feel as though we're making a difference.
Okay, and I hear that. Last pushback on this is that because you're so good at what you do, you put out so much content, and a lot of your stuff goes viral and it becomes part of pop culture. It's when it starts to build on what exactly you want, where the nation buys into your work, right? And you become very consequential. And a song like that, this song, obviously we've already gone through the whole discourse. I don't want to like harp on it. But if a song like that became viral, right? And the tagline that stuck in everybody's head is, oh, Chinese don't know about we.
who's we?
Huh? Well, who?
Chinese don't know who's we.
Thank you.
I messed it up in the first clip too, so I just corrected.
If that's the tagline that just resonates with everybody, then I don't think like it's not their responsibility as a consumer to say, well, what was Richard's message in this? You know, I wonder what he really meant or what his societal take on this was. They're just gonna go, Chinese don't know who's we. Let me rob this cunt, you know, like. So that's kind of where I was coming from. And again, I'm not saying it's wrong. I'm just happy. I'm grateful we could have this discussion because I think it's important. And yeah, I for one didn't think the song had any consequential narrative on me as a person. My wife and I watched it because we heard about it and we were like chuckling the whole part. You know, I giggling. I thought it was silly, but you know, it's interesting though how it ended up, and I'm actually happy it happened because I'm so happy to have the discussion with you, and I appreciate it, and I respect you for addressing it frontally.
Yeah, and again to add to it too. At the end of the day, it's art. It's obviously it's gonna rub people in the wrong way. And I started this this whole, session by saying you can't please everybody. Everybody's gonna have opinion about something. Oh, where's the message in the West? Who the fuck is me, the message king? I ain't the fucking message king. We just making music for it go fucking viral at the end of the day. And if that's our purpose, then we're gonna do it. It's up to people what they want to take it and do with it.
Yeah.
It's like Eminem said in a line. I just said it. I don't know if they do it or not. You understand? I'm not the one who giving them the guns. I just said go shoot up your school. I didn't tell them to go. I didn't know they were to go and do it. But with Western music and all these other countries, they have been through this since fucking 30 years now. Guyana is now going through it because you know why? When people make music videos in Guyana, they stand in front of a fucking camera and all they do is move the lip or they just shake the ass because we have no creativity. So from the first time you see a couple of little youths coming in, well, not me being a youth, but the rest of people, but they come in and they do something that's different. You understand? It's gonna rub people the wrong way because they're not accustomed to it. They're not accustomed. We are influenced by Western society and Western culture so much, but when we do it, it's a fucking taboo.
Oh yeah, I totally agree with that. And I will say, like, you can't say, oh, this is affecting our youth. What does that say about parenting? You know what I mean? Like, what are we saying about the people raising these youths? Like there has to be some responsibility there. If the children are gonna listen to one line of a song, I think that's deeper than just the song you've made. But anyway, hour 45, guys.
Is that where we're at?
I would like to state for the record, this is one of my favorite podcasts so far. I really thoroughly enjoyed it.
I would like to say this is the most bouge podcast there is in Guyana. No, I've seen some other podcasts, but when I came across your guys' clip that my people sent to me, and I was like, this quality is really high. And then I see your fonts on it.
Or
the production.
Yeah.
Even the conversation, you guys were kind of like, you ain't saying what you want to say, you're kind of fucking going around it and coming around. It's like, these fucking guys, they're not. That's why when I came, I was like, should I, like, am I allowed to say certain things? Or how does this work?
Definitely.
Right? But, I mean, they got other podcast people talking about Compton Cook Up and fucking Big Batty Hole and these type of things. And you guys said,
there's space for that.
I know, I understand that. But what I'm
space
saying,
for that.
I'm making the comparison to you guys just, don't be afraid to say what y'all want to say. Talk. Say it.
Do.
Hey, this is a no judgment zone, brother.
Yeah.
Like we actually, and actually, Jared is not on every episode.
Yeah.
But I'm now thinking he should be because he's such a great co-host. But this
Jeff Peterson.
These conversations that we have, him and I have constantly in each other's kitchen.
Over a glass of rum.
or a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
We're not alcoholics.
No.
And it's just like, there's a space for this. Like, this is what's kind of, I don't want to put us on a pedestal or anything, but I just feel like conversations like this is what I crave to hear in the public discourse. And you just don't a lot of the time,
What we did tonight, I think, with Richie is exactly what I was saying on the first one, that there's so much more to Richard than just
absolutely
the fucking song.
Absolutely.
So I mean, someone watching it and having a perspective and pigeonholing you into being something can look at a show like this and listen to the other hour and 10 minutes of what we've been talking about and understand there's a completely different dimension.
I've already been branded. I'm King Scripts right now.
No.
I've already been branded. No, it's okay. I take it graciously. That's all right. I'll take the title.
Well, Richard, on that note, man, thank you so much for coming. I appreciate you.
Good skill,
I'm a big
man.
fan, and I want you to go super far. I hope you go as far as possible, and whenever you're ready to call it, I hope you have a successful career in managing other musicians.
Appreciate it, bro. Thank you guys for having me. You don't know. This is my first podcast. I don't know if it's gonna be my last, but it was really good. So thank you guys very much.
We'll have you back on the show soon.
Oh, definitely.
After the next Chinese song, the next drama, we'll have you back again. Thanks for coming.
No problem. Thank you guys.